October is upon us, so it's time to get simply spooky with some horror movies. Hey everyone, welcome to Cinema, where we focus on a film. I'm Josh, this is Simply Cinema. Let me know down in the comments below what you will be planning to watch within the month of October 2024. Do you have a specific theme, or are you just going general horror, or are you avoiding horror at all costs because that's just not your thing? Let me know all that. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already to join in film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole. And getting right into it, we're gonna go into discrepancies, disclaimers. I'm not necessarily going to be able to watch all these movies. It could be something that's too much for me, especially if I get more busy on YouTube, more busy at work, that I just have to take some rest from time to time. But I'm going to make this a little challenge, be able to watch as much as I can, and of course, putting this as a watch list, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to cross everything off. Some are rewatches, some are first time, and a lot of them are for projects for this channel. And so we're going to get right into it. I hope to waste not too much of your time. We got Universal Classic Monsters Collection that I finally picked up. I was planning to originally watch this whole thing for this month, but a Clint Eastwood movie is coming in November 1st, and I want to start some of the filmography for him, as well as some other directors that I'll be talking about soon. And so hopefully I'm focusing on vampires especially, and so I'll at least be covering the Dracula. I believe there's 4 movies in this collection for Dracula, and I'll be hopefully covering some over the course of time, however that all plays out. And maybe I'll get to another one this month as well. And we'll go first off into some rewatches, some first timers from my collection or from the library. We got Carrie. This was one of my favorites. I was super shocked by it from the first time I watched it. Need to rewatch it since it's been a couple of years. Prevenge, I have not seen at all. We got Identity and Vacancy. I'm more likely to watch Vacancy. That's a never seen it. Identity is one of my favorites as well, but that depends on what time I have based on rewatches and first timers. We got Knives Out. This is a classic fall one that's gonna go on the cycle of what I watch in the fall. Talk to Me. I love this from last year. Haven't seen it since, but it hasn't been too long, so we'll see how well we get into that. What a crazy ending we got. We got Spree. Have not seen this, but it looks pretty cool with Joe Keery. Shaun of the Dead. It's been a couple years, and I have not finished the trilogy. I only own this one, but if I do get around to the trilogy, then hopefully I'll be able to make a ranking for that one. And we'll get into some projects I'm going to be covering. We got Salem's Lot. We got a new Salem's Lot movie adaptation coming on Max this weekend, depending on when this video goes up, whenever you're watching it, October 3rd. But there's 3 of them. There's that. There's Return to Salem's Lot, which I'll have to rent or find on streaming. Then we got this miniseries for Salem's Lot from 2004. Not sure if I'm going to watch it, but I might be watching The Shining. Hopefully I'll be able to make a ranking of those movies, because I also got Dr. Sleep from the library, and I haven't watched this since 2019 in the theaters, so maybe I'll be able to make that a side quest for Stephen King's filmography. And we also got a couple Wes Craven movies. We got Dracula 2000 and Curse, both from Wes Craven. I've watched a few of them. I'm up to 8 films of his filmography. I don't think I'll be able to complete his filmography, but at least add some of the vampire films from what we have here. Next up, we got one from Chris Sanders, who did The Wild Robot. The Call of the Wild. It's been since theaters again since I've seen this, but I did enjoy a good bit of it. I love dog films, even if they are CGI dogs. Certain story points are rather predictable, but that could be a good time and one that's worth the visit. And we got Gremlins and Gremlins 2. There's a new HBO Max series coming that's animated. I don't know how much connected it is to this series. I have not seen Gremlins 2, so I hope to at least watch those 2, even if I don't get to the Max series this month. But next up, we got a Todd Phillips movie collection, a trilogy of The Hangover. I won't be able to get all these movies captured, so I'm trying to at least capture this to make something for the channel, rank a collection of his movies, which I haven't seen any of the Hangover movies, so that could be a wild ride. Next up, we got from Jason Reitman, the director, the frontrunner. I love Hugh Jackman, so it could be another one to check off his list for him having directed Saturday Night, and just slowly check off different directors' lists, even if I'm not able to watch all the movies from every single director. We got a new Venom movie coming, Venom: The Last Dance, and so I may be trying to watch Venom and Venom 2, maybe Madam Well again, see if that holds up, and just generally see what all goes about with different Spider-Man watches. Going back into familiar favorites as well as first-time watches, we got Love and Monsters. I've heard this recommended so many times. Just recently picked it up from Disc Replay. So hopefully I'll be able to cross it off that watch list once and for all this month. And yes, it's zombies more than vampires, but again, I'm expanding the theme to whatever it needs to be. Next up, we have Goonies. It's been a few years. I do like that one a good bit, but I've only seen it that one time. Good Will Hunting, one of my favorite films of all time. It has the fall aesthetics of Boston, so it should be a good time. Just lovely in my top 10. And next up, I won't necessarily go over all of these one by one, but we got the Clint Eastwood. These are 5 that I got from the library. Play Misty, High Plains, The Gauntlet, Eager Station, and Outlaw Josie Walls. And I know they have a lot more of his filmography, like I mentioned at the beginning. There's a Clint Eastwood coming, his final film, so I do want to check off his filmography from my watch list, because I've sort of been eager and interested, but never had the urge or drive. And so most of his films are in the Western realm. There's some suspense, so it won't fully tie in to what the theme is, but for the sake of what I'm trying to do for the channel, it could be a big watch list with 37 films of his filmography. I won't probably be able to watch all his films this month, but to hopefully tackle his list by the end of the year will be nice. And that was all from the library and from my own personal collection. I've been building up some that I've only, like I didn't mention yet, I've only seen 2 of his films of the 37, and so I'll need to rewatch those 2 as well. Cry Macho, I forget the other one right now, but we got J. Edgar, Million Dollar Baby, 1517 to Paris, Unforgiven, Sully, Gran Torino, and American Sniper. Yes, I'm tripping up over my words. I hope you're enjoying this video thus far, my raw, authentic reaction, and just being able to talk about movies. Hopefully I'm not speaking too fast. That makes me trip up over my words. So let me know all your thoughts, what you recommend for me, whether it's in this pile or not, just as a little break, what you think I would like the most. Next up, we got Blade, the trilogy, plus House of Catan. I was going to buy the Blu-ray trilogy, but in order to get that animated movie, you had to buy this DVD. And so, of course, me being the ranker that I am, I want to be a completionist. I've seen the Blade trilogy before, and it's related to the vampire thieves, but I have not seen the 4th one, so we'll see how I get to that one. Next up, we got a Hellboy movie. And yes, there's a Hellboy movie coming out, Hellboy the Crooked Man, that I may end up renting once it comes out. It's nowhere in theaters near me, but it's going straight to VOD rather soon, which isn't a good sign, but I may still end up watching it, see how it lives up to these, and I do need a rewatch of the Hellboy movies in general. Next up, inspired by the Apprentice movie coming out, we got this Angels in America from director Mike Nichols. Juan Carlos over on Instagram recommended for me to watch this, inspired by that movie. It's a 3-hour watch, so it's a little bit more of a heavier one, but it shouldn't be too bad with everything else that I'm trying to watch. And hopefully The Apprentice does show up in my theaters, because sometimes the options are limited for what ends up going to my theater. Next up, we got Van Helsing, something similar to vampires, and another Hugh Jackman film that I have not been able to watch just yet. And we got the complete Underworld collection over on DVD that I got on a really good library bag sale for $3 for this plus multiple other movies. Just 5 films in the collection. I don't remember how many more there are. If there were, I could be confusing with the Resident Evil movie collection. But either way, I'll be researching them before I watch it. Let me know your thoughts on the Underworld movies. And maybe if I do get through all of them, I can make a ranking for the channel like I've been addressing. Next up, we have World War Z. There's been a couple recommendations now and then that I get for this movie, and yes, I have not seen it with Brad Pitt. That should be a little bit of a fun time. Mark Foster, I need to watch more of his movies to really get a general gist of what his directing style is all about. But we next up got True Fiction. This is about a writer. Everything comes to life, I believe, that she writes down. And so being an author myself, I sort of jive with these sort of movies that could be things. I got this a couple years ago at the Dollar Tree or something. Hopefully it's not too bad with that general gist. Sometimes there's popular movies, so I'm not too discouraged, and I watch pretty much anything anyway, so it could be a fun watch to see what all lands up with that. Next up, I have Child's Play on the watch list. I've only seen the first one a couple years back, and I was sort of hoping to get through the whole franchise. Not sure how that will turn out with all these other watches, but I have this as a reminder in my pile that I keep separate from my physical Mito shelf, just so I have it on the lookout. Next up, we got Carrie 3 film collection, Carrie 76, Carrie 2, and Carrie 2002. I have seen the whole franchise, and there's another one of an adaptation before it, somewhere in between this, or maybe it's after Carrie 2022, 2002. But either way, I hope to hopefully explore at least the first one. That's one of my favorite movies, and maybe as a side quest again to Stephen King, be able to rank this filmography, even though it's not a franchise by the familiar sense. It's a collection of movies of a particular genre. And we got 13 Assassins, wanting to watch more foreign films, and I need to speed up this a little bit just because of how much I've been talking. But let me know if you enjoy some of these raw cut sort of videos, or if you're just not on this video anymore, then you won't be hearing this. So either way, we got Red Dawn and Red Dawn, the original and the remake on DVD. Have not seen either of these. I believe they're both zombie movies, so that'll be interesting to get into those watches. We're on the end game now with only about less than 10 movies to show off. We got Revenge. This is from the same director as The Substance, which I love that movie from just the last couple weeks. If you haven't seen it, great body horror film, but it can be very grotesque if you're just not into seeing too much dissection or blood or whatnot going into this. But I'm very interested to see what's going on with her debut film. So I've heard some good things about that even before The Substance, but just never had as much motivation before watching The Substance, seeing her work. Next up, we got The Gunman from Pierre Morel. He has a movie coming later in the month. I forget if it's the 24th or the last weekend of October, whatever that all entails. This is from the director that did Taken. I'm a big fan of that, of course, being a big Liam Neeson fan. So I want to watch a little bit more of his filmography. I believe he has 8 or 9 films. Don't know if I'll get around to all of them, but added another one just to sneak in more to what I can watch. Next up, yes, we got Twilight, and I want to watch the whole franchise this month. It's been on my watch list for a while. I don't have any particular connection to it by any means, but it's been one of those weird things where you're Team Edward or Team this other one, I forget. I don't remember the names right now. It's been a while since I heard people really talk about it. The different teams, the werewolves and vampires. And of course, vampires, it's in my theme. So I hope to really... It's one of those weird ones that I like weird films or weird niches, and this has a weird audience where you either really love it or it's very detached from you. So I don't know where I'll end up with this, how the quality will turn out, and seeing an early version of Robert Pattinson will be quite interesting, just having seen the Batman a couple weeks back. So that could be an interesting watch. Hopefully I'll be able to get it and create an entertaining ranking for you guys. Next up, we got Welcome to Marwen. This is a lead up to Ridley Scott, hopefully capturing more of his filmography. I have most of his filmography in reference to Ridley Scott. He has Gladiator 2 coming out next month, November 23rd, I believe. And so I have about 16 of his films watched out of 23 to 26. I forget the exact number. So I'll at least watch some of the ones I haven't seen. And if I have time, watch the ones I have seen just to get a better, fresher retrospect of the ideas, what I think of the films. Yes, I have seen the first Gladiator. It's rather good for what it's going after. And next up, we have a couple Jordan Peele films. I am sinking my teeth into some of Cody Leach's 31 on 31. Don't know if I'll be able to complete the filmography of what he has for that watch list. But if I do manage to do that, I'll have my own ranking of all 31 movies. Maybe I'll have a picture on the screen what that looks like right now. But we got Get Out, we got Us, and I did not find Nope at the library, which I don't have these in my collection. I know I should because they're really good ones. But it has been a while since I watched any of his filmographies, basically since the release of the films. So I do need to rewatch those, give a proper ranking for Jordan Peele. I believe he has a film coming next year, if I'm not mistaken, if not in 2026. But I might as well put it out there for you all, especially with the horror themes, getting into the theme of the month, getting simply spooky. Next up, we got Ouija, Origin of Evil. Origin of Evil is the sequel. Ouija is the one that's on Cody Leach's Horror 31 on 31. So got that if I manage to get around to it. As well as Malignant. It's been a few years since I watched it, since whenever it first released. And I do remember really enjoying this. I didn't know the meaning behind the title. To which, if you haven't seen this, and if you don't know the meaning behind the title, that's part of the main twist of the film that would essentially ruin the film for you. And so I was very shocked by it. So hopefully I'll be generally just as thrilled by the experience going into it, catch all the details that I may not have expected, knowing what the twist is, what it is now. So that's just all the movies that I hope to be watching, plus all the 2024 movies, whatever I have and whatever is not already here. Of course, completing Clint Eastwood for filmography or starting to watch it. So hopefully I'll be able to update you with rankings along the way, whatever I do get watched. And so let me know any suggestion, what you want to see most, what you want me to focus on, and I may end up prioritizing that no matter what I have to take away from my video list or from some of these other movies in order to watch what you suggest for me. So make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you haven't already to join in the film culture community where we talk about the love of cinema as a whole, and let me know what you will be watching just as well, and let's have a nice fun discussion to get simply spooky down in the comments below. And make sure to like this video, subscribe, and make sure to do yourself a favor and go watch a movie.